stuff here. I know. Hello, internet world. It's your gonzo journalist, Lou Hammer. I wasn't prepared for this. I'm at a doctor's appointment. Well, my girlfriend is. I'm out here in the parking lot. This is the infamous location of the Who's Swishy story. If anybody remembers those good old days when I was doing comedy shows. Oh, well. So a lot of people ask me, what do I think about Ukraine? And it's just everything's sad there. And so I don't like talking about it. Oh no, she needs her ID. Watch out for the car. Hey, that's what I figured. Okay. She needed her ID. So here I am in the parking lot. Anyway, so this is the important shit about Ukraine. So, to start with, there is no Russia-Ukraine war. It's over. The Russia destroyed Ukraine literally in the first 3 months of the war. The entire past 4 years has been a war, a proxy war, an economic war, a hybrid war between Russia and Europe, using Ukraine as meat. Ukrainians, that's the truth about this, guys, is Ukraine doesn't exist. It's a meat source. That's it. They're cattle. They're literally cattle. And they're almost all been slaughtered. So here's another important key thing about the Ukraine is Russia is slaughtering 1,000 Ukrainians every day for 4 years now. And Ukraine is out of men. They are actually starting to round up all the Ukrainian refugees that left Ukraine, the 10 million refugees that left Ukraine, and the ones that are military age are being rounded up and expelled from Europe and returned to Ukraine, just like Hitler did in World War II. And the whole world, well, all of NATO land and America and Europe are rounding up the Ukrainians and sending them back to Ukraine so they can be killed by Russia. And they're down to, they have, let's be honest here, unless Ukraine starts mass conscripting their female population, Ukraine has enough men to last maybe 1 year to maybe a year and a half tops. All right. And then they're like literally out of humans that can pick up weapons and fire them at the enemy. Okay. They're like literally out of people. So, and here's where it gets all sad and shit, besides the fact that Ukraine is committing suicide because Europe and America and Epstein wants them to. The sad part is that Europe is now attacking Russia. All right. They're no longer pretending that it's just Ukraine. Europe, specifically the Baltics and Germany and France, they're using the airspace of the Baltics to do drone strikes on Russia's oil industry and ports up in the Kaliningrad and not Kaliningrad, St. Petersburg region. All right. And they're destroying Russia's oil terminals and oil refineries and stuff like that. And that's not Ukraine. That's Europe. That's Germany. That's France. That's Poland. That's Lithuania, Estonia. And what's that other Baltics state? Whatever. Those people. And they're flying the drones through the Baltics into Russia and blowing up Russia's shit. All right. And here's, you see, the thing that nobody's much talking about. The Russians are not talking about it, and the rest of the world ain't talking about it either. Is Russians are getting very frustrated with their government. All right. And this has been happening since Trump attacked Iran. Russians have been very dissatisfied with their government and their Ministry of Defense and their military leadership and their diplomatic corps, like the MFA. And they're getting really sick and tired of all this diplomacy and negotiating and the spirit of Alaska type shit going on. Russians are sick and tired of hearing that. Their shit is, they're getting drone strikes. Their entire border, western border, is getting drone struck by Europe, not Ukraine, by Europe. And we know it's Europe and not Ukraine because Budanov. If you don't know who Budanov is, you're way behind when it comes to knowing what the fuck's going on in the world. Budanov is right up there with Zelensky and shit. Okay. So Budanov admitted on an interview with like fucking MSNBC or some shit like that Ukraine doesn't produce anything. They assemble shit in apartments. All right. That's what they do. Europe ships disassembled shit into Ukraine. Ukrainians assemble it, and then it goes to the front to be used in the war. Ukraine doesn't have electricity. Ukraine doesn't have any fucking factories. Ukraine doesn't have shit. Everything they have for the war comes from Europe. All their drones, all their missiles, all their artillery, all their vehicles, all their fuel, all their food, their clothes, everything, all the supplies for the Ukrainian military is European. It comes from Europe. It's bought with European money. It's made in European factories. And some from America because Europe pays and buys shit from America and gives it to Ukraine. Ukraine itself has nothing. All right. Their entire power grid is wiped out. And I know you keep hearing about how they have power and the propaganda is going to show you how Ukraine has electricity. Well, that's a big ass fucking lie. Their electricity nowadays is mostly imported from like Poland and Hungary and Romania. Well, maybe not Hungary, but yeah, I think they still ship electricity through Hungary, actually. Right. And Russia blew up all the power plants. They're all gone. So how is it that Ukraine still has lights on? All right. This is how you have to know a little bit about how electricity actually works and how it gets produced in one place and sent through the power lines to another place to make lights work. All right. So all the power transmissions lines go to the power plants, right? Well, the power plants all got blown up. So what Ukraine, aka Europe, has been doing is when the power plant gets blown up, they install one of those mini power plants inside the wreckage of the old Soviet power plant. And they do this because it's the only way to get the lights turned on. You see, you can't just set up a new fucking power plant or a generator just any old place. It has to have the power line hooked up to it, just like you have to plug your computer into the wall socket. Yeah, same concept. It's literally the same thing. So the power line has to connect to the power generating source. And those lines are where the old blowing up fucking power plants are. So the power plant gets blown up. Europe, Ukraine, America, whatever the fuck, installs a new micro fucking power plant. You know, it's been all over the propaganda news how everybody's sending Ukraine these portable power plants and shit like that. Well, they set them up in the ruins of the original power plants so they don't have to lay new cables. All right. And that's why on your news, you'll see that Russia keeps bombing the propaganda makes it look like Russia's bombing the same power plants. What they're really doing is bombing the new micro power units that were installed after the last bombings. And that's why you're going to continue to see Russia repeatedly striking the same power plants that were already blowing up years ago. All right. It's just the way the universe works. All right. So Russia doesn't even have to have spies looking for you where Ukraine's setting up new power plants or generators or anything like that. They know it's going to be right near where the power transmissions lines are, which is where the old power plants were, right? So it's not even a lot of brain work. There's not a lot of spy things needed. It's like, oh, if a region has power, there's obviously a new micro unit inside one of the old reactors or turbines, or depending on what kind of a power plant it is, right? So Ukraine has nothing. So what is the real war? It's going to come down to one of two things. One of two things is going to give, and it's going to, especially with the Iran shit going down, one of these two things going to give here real fucking soon. Well, okay, thanks for letting me know, dude. Like, don't eat canned beans because the bean cooking factories, they don't pre-soak their beans. And so if you eat canned beans, they're going to make you gassy. So don't eat canned beans. Buy a pressure cooker, learn how to pre-soak your beans at home and cook your own beans. And that'll help you to not be farting all day. Okay. So I hope that helps. So there's that. I've been eating canned beans. Yeah, it's the canned beans. You got to stay away from them. So yeah, it's more than a whole generation. It's like fucking all generations of Ukrainians are gone, to be honest, for real. There's more than just one generation. Um yeah, it's a disaster all day. So what's going to give? Ukraine, like I said earlier, only has enough manpower, enough meat to man the front line for maybe a year and a half tops. All right. Um, the other question is, how much resources does Europe have left to contribute to the war? Well, Russia already won. All right. Russia won the war literally in the first 3 months. It took Russia 3 months to destroy the entire Ukraine military. Um, and everything after the first 3 months, it's all conscripts and mercenaries and NATO weaponry and money and fuel and electricity. So it's no longer Ukraine doesn't exist anymore. You know. Yeah. Well, I'm not really sorry, but yeah, Russia already won. Um, and now Russians are disgruntled and mad at their government, and they're really upset with their government. Russians themselves don't even notice that a lot of them are upset. They like on their personal a lot of the stuff I get on what's going on over in that part of the world, it's not even from official news things. Um, it's like Russian veterans private Telegram channels that I'm reading, and yeah, at least Zelensky got fucking a shit ton of cocaine. That's for sure. That son of a bitch don't goddamn share. You know, yeah, I agree. Trump does need to look for cheaper fat pills. I do agree with that. So Russians are disgruntled because of Iran, because Iran is whooping the shit out of America right now. And America, as fucked up as America is and how shitty our shit is and how fucked up our military is, it's nowhere in near as bad a shape as the European military and the European economy right now. And Europe continues to fucking launch drones into Russia, and Russia keeps playing this game of that it's Ukraine doing it and not Europe, you know. you know, and so they're upset because they want their government and their military to behave like Iran is, which is not taking shit from fucking nobody. All right. And so they're getting upset because they want to launch missiles into Europe. No, I support Putin. I don't support Putin because I'm not Russian. Putin is a great leader. I mean, he's humiliated Europe and America and everybody. His nation's still standing after everything. So he's, by every objective standard, Putin is a very skilled fucking leader, you know. So say what you will. And to be honest, a lot of Russians, they're like not mad at Putin. They're afraid to be mad at Putin. So they're mad at like Gerasimov and like Lavrov, then all of the talking heads that do all the negotiating and stuff like that, because they want to blow up the drone factories in Europe, and they want to blow up the rail lines in Europe, and they want to blow up the fucking refineries in Europe, and they want to blow up all of Europe's shit that's being used to attack Russia. And they keep doing this fucking negotiating and diplomacy and red lines. They're getting very frustrated. And let me say, why, thank you. I'll just put that up there because I said thank you. I appreciate that. Um, so that's Russia's very discontented, and they have an election coming up here, I think next year too. I'm pretty sure Russia has general elections. Not for the president. He's got a couple years left. I think 3, maybe more. I'm not sure. 3 or 4 more years for Putin's current term. And what if Russia went? Well, nobody wants that. Like, it doesn't even matter if you love Russia, you hate Russia. It doesn't matter what you think about Trump. Nobody wants Russia and America to fucking fight. For one, America will lose, and for two, it would probably mean the apocalypse. So nobody wants that. It would be nuclear Armageddon, and nobody wants that. Let me check the comments here. Poison is okay. I'll address this just because Russia and Putin didn't poison nobody. Germany and England poisoned the double agents, the Russian traitors that were working for NATO and Mossad and the CIA and them people like Navalny and shit like that. And then England and Germany poisoned them so they could fucking blame Russia for it. So the whole story of Putin poisoning his opposition and throwing oligarchs out of windows and shit, all fake news. They were killed by NATO, killed by the CIA, Mossad, whoever the fuck, MI6. And then the propaganda machine of the West accused Russia of killing their own people and shit like that. So and it works. Everybody hates Putin because they think that stuff. Yeah, for real. I mean, and there was some in-depth documentary things, medical doctors and people who understand Russia's military technology. And like, what was it? The Skripal one, the dude that was poisoned? No, the Novichok, whatever. I think the poison was called Novichok. It was like a nerve agent or something, right? And he got poisoned in Germany. And one of the Russian biologists. Oh, thanks. Yes. If you're here, like and subscribe, or don't like, but still subscribe. That would help. But they poisoned the dude, and then they accused Russia of using a nerve agent to poison one of their own people. Hey, from Germany over there. I see ya. Something wrong with you, mate. I just like reading the comments. I pay attention to the comments, just so you know. Um, and one of the Russian military dudes that knows how Russia's chemical weapons work was like, dude, if we were using a nerve agent to kill one of our peoples, they'd be dead. Because what happened was the chemical they used to kill the dude, or they didn't try to kill him. It was all propaganda. They just wanted to accuse Russia of trying to assassinate one of their own people. Is they used what's called a binary nerve agent. Okay. And what binary means is there's two parts, and it takes two of them to actually work. All right. And if you use just one half, it's not going to kill the person. In this case, this particular chemical is it made him really sick without killing him. And if they'd used the full actual chemical weapon, he would have been dead. Okay. So that's a big clue. The FSB, they know how to kill people, and it's not even the FSB. FSB is Russia's equivalent of America's FBI. That's domestic federal police. Okay. Russia's actual spy forces is called the SVR, and those dudes don't fuck around. Now, if you want to know, yes, the a good example of how Russia knows how to assassinate their traitors. If you remember back in like year one, year two of the war, uh, the there's that chopper pilot that sold out to Ukraine, and they paid him a bunch of money, and he stole a Russian chopper and flew it to Ukraine, and the Ukrainians killed the whole crew. And then he got his money and he went to retire in France. And then, like about a year later, that guy who betrayed Russia, he fucking in a parking lot, in an underground parking lot in France, he got ran over like multiple times and then shot like a couple dozen times. Okay. And he was dead. So what I'm trying to say is if the Russian government wants to assassinate you, you're going to be assassinated. You're not going to get some half-assed fucking binary fucking nerve agent assassination attempt. Okay, it's not going to happen like that. Yeah. So I thank you, Hector, down there in the chat. I appreciate it. So that's the deal with the assassinations and the oligarchs going out of windows and stuff. Well, oh goodness. So that's where we kind of stand in the world today. Um, is everything's all fucked up. America and NATO, Europe, we're all getting the shit kicked out of us. Um, Iran and Russia and North Korea, and to a lesser extent China, are wrecking our shit for over 4 fucking years now. And the bad shit is just beginning. Yeah, situation normal, all fucked up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, the people, the simple, they try to make it sound like Ukraine has a fighting chance, but they literally don't have a fighting chance. Simple math. Russia hasn't even mobilized. Russia's not, they did one mobilization and they rounded up a couple thousand fucking unlucky bastards to man the trenches, the defensive trench lines down in the Zaporizhian region, right? And they're still there, right? Yeah, fuck NATO. I agree with that. But mathematically, and math rules all, fucking Ukraine never even had a hope of a chance. And it's just been NATO trying to degrade Russia economically, hoping it would cause civil unrest and overthrowing Putin, which ain't going to happen. fucking, because like I said, the Russian people are all angry right now, but you don't see them trying to overthrow their government. You know, why did we waste? Why? Oh, because we're a bunch of. Hold on. So why do we waste? Because we're a bunch of. Yeah, exact. No. Well, it was. It wasn't just another money grab, but there was a part of it was is always a money grab. Whenever you have a war, the war profiteers are going to do. Someone is some things. You know, how many coups? The people that think America hasn't had any coups. How about Kennedy? How about uh, Carter? How about Nixon? You know, America's had coups. All right. If you think about it, Trump is a coup against the American people. He was installed by Israel. I look like a young Joe Pesci. I'll take that as a compliment. I'm probably a little taller than Joe Pesci, but he's cool as far as I know. Yeah, the CIA. Yeah, yeah, and like um, I'm at a doctor's appointment, and she's probably almost done. But I'm trying to stream more. Sunday, I may or may not have Alex from Russia on. He's uh he wants to do a live stream on Sunday, but he often gets tied up with work and reschedules. But tentatively for Sunday, we have he speaks English, you know. So there's that. Yeah. So like I was trying to say, the bad shit ain't even begun yet, guys. Like everybody's crying over the gas prices right now. This is nothing. This is nothing. Like what you America and the world don't realize is that the Middle East produces like I think over 20% of the world's fertilizers, 25% of LNG is from the Middle East, not just oil, but LNG, that's liquefied natural gas, and sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is a chemical that's required for many different ore refining processes. I'm not sure exactly which ones because it's been over a decade since I was in chemistry class. But I think aluminum and uranium. I'm not sure about steel. Um, you know, without sulfuric acid, all your weapons factories, all your computer factories, all your car factories, um, all that stuff, it's going to shut down. There's no more sulfuric acid. In fact, in another month or two, all the private corporations, the factories, they're going to run out of their stockpiles of sulfuric acid, and then manufacturing is going to come to a screeching halt sometime soon, probably the middle or end of summer, I would guess. All right. So then there's the fertilizers. Trump started bombing Iran and the strait got shut down literally right at the beginning of fucking planting season for the entire northern hemisphere. So America and Europe are totally fucked. Russia and Belarus and everybody that's friends with Russia and Belarus, they're fine. Because guess who makes another 20% of the global fertilizers? That's right, Russia and Belarus. Guess who has their own oil and LNG and fertilizer and all of that stuff? It's Russia. So when the global economy crashes, guess who does well? Russia. You know who doesn't do so well during a global economic crisis? China, America, and Europe. This guy is some racist stuff going on there. Wouldn't you all see that? That's pretty racist, you know? You know, all these racist Americans that probably dropped out of high school and don't have a college degree. Here's something about the ragheads, as you like to call them. Iran has a higher female literacy rate than America. 60% of the scientists and the engineers that built Iran's defense industry are women. All of the leaders of Iran are PhD scholars published in global scientific journals. All right, they're scientists. The people running Iran that control the military, the government, the Ayatollah himself, they're all scholars and soldiers. Like the president of Iran, he was goddamn infantry in the Iraq-Iran war back in the 8-year war. And he's also a fucking doctor. He's a surgeon. All of Iran's missiles were designed by women. All of Iran's drones were designed by women. All of the reverse engineers in Iran are women. All right. And their men are PhD scholars running the nation. So, all you high school dropouts, GED holders here in America that think you're superior to the ragheads, well, guess what? You ain't shit. You're an ignorant, mouth breathing dumb fuck, and you're getting skull fucked by the academic community of Iran right now. Just so you know, so you can laugh yourself to the grave with that shit. That's what your racism's going to get you, an early fucking grave in your nation burnt to the goddamn ground and in ruins because you're a dumb fuck that voted for Trump. Yeah. Like people, you know how America, you know, we have Hollywood and we're the home of fucking cinema in the world, and they everybody think America invented theater and shit. You know who invented the world's first fucking uh the world's first projector? Yeah, guess what? It was an Arab in goddamn Iraq, modern day Iraq. Mm-hmm. Your fucking entire math system, numbers 0 through 9. Guess who invented that? Yeah, Persians did. No, the Arabs actually, probably. That's why they're called Arabic numerals, because the Middle East invented modern day math. Yeah, until Arabs and the Persians fucking unfucked human civilization with modern mathematics, we were stuck with Roman fucking numerals trying to figure out how to put a fucking 0 in a fucking equation. 0 did not exist until the Persians and Arabs invented it. Yeah, even the fat chicks are moving now. Oh, goodness. You got people like this, they don't even understand that Ukraine is the Jews and that the Jews are the Nazis and the Nazis are the Jews. And here they are trying to shit talk the Jews, not realizing you're the Jew, Mr. Cold 338. You are the Jew. You are the gay Jew. You know? But yeah, I like having all these haters. Like, thank you for showing and watching to all my haters and the people that like me too. Of course, you. But I appreciate having the people coming in being all angry and trying to be racist against brown people and hating on the Persian culture and thinking that Ukraine is not Jews. You know, all of this silly stuff they believe. Anyway, I had fun today. Actually, I'm gonna try to do live streams more. I I mean, thank you. I appreciate that comment. I mean, I am educated. I did 5 years in higher education. I did 3 years in community college, and then I did a bachelor's degree at Western Washington University. And then I was in the Army for 10 years, so I traveled the world lived in Germany for 5 or 6 years, lived in Iraq for a year. I lived in South Korea for a year. I lived in Texas for a year and a half, and that's a foreign country as far as I'm concerned. So I mean, I know some things. I'm not the smartest kid in the classroom by far. If I was the smart guy, I would not be living in a trailer park. But but yeah, I've worked hard to try to know what's happening in the world. It's not an easy task. Yeah, I've been to Wisconsin, guys. My girlfriend lived in Wisconsin, so I went to Wisconsin when we were first getting together and stuff. You're just a crazy. No, I'm still the crazy guy in the van. I mean, let's not give me not, don't take that away from me. That's my shtick. My God, Murphy, you smell bad. Oh my God. That's horrible. Um, yeah, I live in a trailer park. I have a bunch of tweakers, scumbag criminals for neighbors. I'm disabled from the military and shit. Yeah, half of the Ukraine army are Nazi skinheads, and Nazi skinheads are Jews. And we can do that on a different stream. If you want to understand how the Jews are the Nazis and the Nazis are the Jews, we can get into that on that's a whole different subject. But, anyways, I don't care what the word Nazi stands for. I define the word Nazi, and a Nazi is basically a violent, ignorant, dumb fuck. I mean, if you want to get down to it, uh, self loathing, ignorant, violent, dumb fuck. That's my definition of a Nazi. No, the Socialist German Workers' Party does not make you a Nazi. The Socialist German Workers' Party was hijacked by the Nazis, aka the Jews. If you actually look at the Socialist German Workers' Party like a party platform, it's actually very reasonable. It's not extreme or anything. It's their party platform politically is very reasonable, and it's how Germany rebuilt after World War I and became a superpower for World War II. You know, and that didn't fall apart until the Jew Nazis invaded the German government and got Hitler hooked on meth. And that's when shit all went to hell, is when Hitler started doing meth. You know, yes, we are blaming the. Oh, my stream lagged. You're going to be, you need to assimilate. Um, Stream lagging. The stream keeps lagging. Let's address this one. And I'm not at home right now, so I can't pull up the tabs, my saved tabs on my browser. What was his name? George Soros? George Soros, a world famous rich Jew, admitted in a fucking live interview with a journalist that the Jews were the perpetrators of their own Holocaust. So this ain't a conspiracy theory. This is direct reporting from one of the Jews that was doing the Holocaust, admitting that he did the Holocaust. It's not a conspiracy. It's a fact that the Jews holocausted themselves. George Soros admitted it. All right. It's like, you can't. Are you going to tell George Soros that he lied about doing the Holocaust against his own people? You know, it's kind of silly. Hi there, Renegade. I see ya. I don't block people. Just so you know, I don't block people. Like, and if I do, it's for something stupid. It's just for fun. But I generally don't block people. Yes, I agree. George Soros is evil, but I thought that's kind of obvious considering I'm fully aware that the rich Jews are the ones that holocausted all the poor Jews. you know. And it's the same story throughout all of human history. It's never some ethnic group or a religious group. Those are all just the scapegoats. All right. That's just what the winners write to make themselves look like they're good people and shit. It's always, always, always rich people fucking robbing, raping, and murdering poor people. Always. If you dig down past the labels, past the ethnicity, past the gender, past the religion, past the culture, past the national identity, and you get down to what really happened, it's always going to be a small group of rich people that were slaughtering their own people for profit. They did deport them. Germany deported the Jews and stuff until they started running out of labor for their factories and their military, and then they started bringing them back. Um, they literally there was some diplomatic stuff during World War II. It's all very well documented in government uh, diplomatic papers where Hitler was demanding that England send back the Jews to Germany. So yeah, they deported him and then they brought him back. Guess what? Just like Ukraine did at the beginning of the war, everybody ran away, and now Ukraine is having all the European nations send all of the Ukrainians back to Ukraine. It's like history repeating itself. Wash, rinse, repeat. You know? Yeah. you know. Anyways, I got to get going and doing stuff. So subscribe. I do live streams. I'm trying to do more. I do a couple a month at this point. Sunday we should have a English speaking Russian citizen who's working on the front line in Ukraine. He's not in the military. He's a citizen volunteer with a volunteer organization who does frontline missions, and he's going to come on sooner or later. Hey, thanks, Renegade. But I'll see you all later. Have a good day. And as Russians taught us 4 years ago, get physical, do your exercise, eat healthy, learn how to grow food, learn how to cook food, learn how to filter water, because everything's going to get way worse than it is right now. And you need to prepare yourself, be healthy, have sex, go for a jog every day, eat your vegetables. Okay, guys, take care of yourselves. We all need to hang in there. Have a good one.